Philadelphia Union. It was a good shout. It was a good shout. I'll let you go first.
Okay. Philly have had a very solid year, as Philly always does. To me, it's hard to pick there's no one that really stands out like way above the rest. Like there's a lot of guys that are very good players. All right, I'll throw kind of a different one out there for best player. I'll go for Kai Wagner.
Okay.
I know he plays left back, so he may not necessarily be the most influential on the field, but I just think that he's just absolutely rock solid for them, and he's such a good player for them.
I like we know that. I made that clear before.
Yeah. He's good going up the field. He's good defensively. He's a big part of that Philadelphia back line that makes them so good. It's tough to pick someone, kind of as I said before, like even just looking at this who scored list, the man of the matches are very spread out. I mean, nobody has more than two. It's all over the place. Usually someone's always stepping up for them in a game. I don't know. How do you want to do this? You want me to run through all of them, or do you want to go like one each?
Run through all of them, and then I'll come back and wrap it around.
All right. I'll say for me, the most impressive, or I don't remember what we're calling this. Is that what we're calling it?
Yeah. So we'll call it best player, most impressive player, and least impressive player.
Okay. I'll go Jack Elliott for most impressive.
Okay.
And I know he's got he's obviously not like some youngster that just came onto the scene this year. He's got some stature with Billy in the past. But I feel like he's been super strong this year. Kind of the same thing with Wagner. He's been very solid in that back line for Philly. We know Philly's very good defensively. I mean, they have a very solid back line. It's tough to break them down. It's one of the things I feel like they're best known for, besides their academy. And I think he's really, in the past, I kind of thought he had bits where he seemed like he was pretty strong, but then there were points where I was like, I'm not so sure. But I feel like this year he's been much more consistent. It's felt like a stronger presence from him in the back line. So he's my pick for that one. And then, oh man, picking a disappointing one is it's going to be tough on this team. Whew. I would say this is kind of tough just because I feel like I know his role typically with Philly. But a part of me wants to say Ilsinho.
Say Ilsinho, do it. That man should be slated for the rest of his life.
I know he doesn't usually start. If he does, he doesn't go very long. So I know he's not usually on the field for much. And I know he's 35, he's up there in age. But I think he's kind of like lost his place on the team. I just don't think he is. I just don't think he really served. There's not really a need for that role that they used to have for him. He's only gotten 79 minutes this season, so maybe there was an injury or something, but it seems like Jim Curtin doesn't really have that need for him anymore.
Well, when you're not playing Red Bull, there's no need for him. He's only good against us.
And that's why you have your animosity towards him. But yeah, that's a tough one for me. So I'm kind of open to hearing what you have to say on that one.
No, it was good. I was thinking about Ilsinho when I was looking at this list. I was thinking about, because here's the thing, right? If you look at like the bottom half of this list, where Who Scored puts out some ratings about people who, have done what they've done. Excuse me. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 of them are 20 years old or under. And then you got Matt Freese, who played 3 games, and then Ilsinho. They're just a bunch of U23 kids. Like, you can't really, but that's the entire team they're running with, right? For me, I'm actually going to change my pick here. So originally I had written down Corey Burke scoring 4 goals basically a goal every 2 games, on a team that, he hasn't really been talked too much about. But I'm going to change it to Leon Flock. Leon Flock came out as a 20-year-old defensive midfielder, and has just outright been one of the best young midfielders in the league. There were rumors he was in the at 20 years old playing, half a season. He was in the Gold Cup pool, right? He was about to be called up to the U.S. men's national team at some point, for a kid who had 0 minutes last year. So most impressive will be Leon Flock for me. My best player is actually going to be Jack Elliott, the guy who is obviously the center of the back line, right? But from May 16th through May 31st, basically put up 3 straight shutouts against Red Bull, which isn't impressive, DC United, which is pretty good, and then Portland, and he scored a goal in that game. He also had a shutout against Atlanta early in the year in the Champions League, shut out the Fire, and shut out Toronto FC, and shut out New York City this year. So he's been the center point of this back line that has been relatively good. I mean, they don't give up a lot of multi-goal games. There are the one-offs here and there, right? So you've got Inter Miami with 2 goals. How did Inter Miami win that game? New York City with 2 goals, which is a tough team to defend against. 2 goals against Atlanta when they started getting good again. 3 goals against Chicago, which is a weird one. But that's really it. And then there's there's only 2 more games after they gave up two goals or more. He has just been a monster in the air. Little bit of an attacking give back as well. But 2 tackles a game, 2 interceptions a game, 5 clearances a game. The man's in good form. And this first half of the season, he's my player of the year for Philly, the Union. And my least impressive player. Remember when they lost this guy, Mark McKenzie?
Yeah.
And they brought in this guy, Stuart Finley.
Yeah, I figured you were going to go there. I thought about him too.
He's played 3 games, 180 minutes. And he just has not got on. They're playing with Glesnes and Jack Elliott, which makes sense. But Glesnes couldn't get a game last year because of Mark McKenzie, and now he's like the backup. So I was expecting a little bit more out of him. Other than that, maybe Ali Bedoya, but I'll stick with Stuart Finley on that one.
Yeah, I think that's probably the better choice over Bedoya.
Yeah.
Bedoya is tough to read off of like a stat sheet.
Yeah, for sure.
No, I think that's pretty fair. I think I think we did a pretty good job with Philly. Yeah. Until we hear from the Philly fans about how we got it wrong.
How we absolutely slayed it.